Hello, everyone. Good morning. Happy Sunday to you all. Hope everyone's doing great this morning. Want to first say thank you for tuning in to the stream here. Thank you for being here. We had an interesting one yesterday, didn't we? So wanted to come in this morning and give you all the latest in an update on kind of how things have developed overnight and how things are looking if you are just about to get going for your Sunday and about to just get your day started, no matter what you may have planned. I can tell you that whatever you may have planned, be prepared to kind of take things a little bit slower at times. So let's talk about it. So the snow is all said and done in central Iowa. There's nothing left as far as snowfall for this system, but we do still have impacts on the backside of it here. So first, getting a look at just a couple of the cameras, and we'll take a look at plow cameras too, and get a view of how things are looking in different parts of central Iowa. But one of the roads that I take into the station, sometimes I just take side streets, kind of some of the main roads. But I decided to take 8035 this morning, and I can tell you that from the Merle Hay exit all the way to University. So I wasn't on it for a super long time, but I will say that the far part of the right lane and then the left lane, pretty much the whole lane, there was a lot of slushy areas. And if you take that road often, there's a lot of raised roadway and overpasses and a lot of bridges and things like that. This cold air that we've got this morning is really, in the wind as well, really sweeping under those. So there's ice spots that you can't see all that well. Do want to let you know that things are still a bit rough out there. Here's a look at a few of our 235 cameras. The one at Guthrie Avenue there, pretty much just iced over from the night before, and you can kind of see that on the Valley West camera too. I'll remove myself so that you can see that in full. I'm realizing now that I've got the Valley West one completely covered. So let me take myself out here for a second. So that was from the freezing drizzle that was falling for a short period of time late last night. This was probably between 10 o'clock and midnight last night. We had some freezing drizzle coming down. So that's why those cameras are a little bit covered this morning. Bring myself back here. So wanted to update you that travel for the rest of the weekend and the rest of just really for our Sunday today. Be prepared to allow yourself plenty of time. Take things slow out there. Just be alert, be awake, because I had a situation coming into the station where, someone wasn't taking the road conditions seriously and made some last-second moves, and just wasn't all too fun. And that's from that little bit the slushy areas as well as some icy spots that are still out there. Of course, DOT crews are out, city crews are out. Everyone's working hard doing the best they can, but we're going to continue to have some blowing snow throughout the morning and into this afternoon. Now, this blowing snow is mainly going to be in parts of north central and far northern Iowa, mainly due to the fact that the type of snow that fell a little bit farther to the north was just a little bit fluffier and a little bit lighter. So the winds are going to really blow that around, and it's going to, it's going to create some visibility issues. in rural areas, especially the east-west roads, because our wind is almost straight out of the north right now. But even just a wind of this, which is around 10 to 15 miles per hour sustained. Let's see what the wind gusts, if any, have been reported. So just kind of right on the edge. A couple places with wind gusts above 20 miles per hour. That's going to continue to happen as we head over the next couple of hours here. It's going to blow that snow around, not going to create for like a blizzard-like condition of any kind. I don't think reduced visibility is going to be a major problem, even on rural roads and east-west roads in north central Iowa where more snow fell. But it's still, you have a lot of salt on the roadway. The salt was able to do some work, and it created some wet spots. And what happens when you have the snow blowing across those roadways? And I grew up in Algona, so I know this all too well. When you have snow blowing across the roadways, you eventually start to get very slick patches, and sometimes it turns to just straight up ice, even if most of the rest of the road has been cleared and is just maybe wet or is actually cleared off very well. The blowing snow across the road can still cause a lot of problems. So here's a look at the road conditions this morning to start the day here. We've got a lot of roads that are still coming in as completely covered to begin the day today. Now, I do expect just kind of very slow improvements, but I will tell you that there are a couple of areas in northwest Iowa that they have marked off as a no-tow zone right now. So I am just assuming, and we'll see what some plows up that direction might be looking at. But at the moment, I'm just kind of assuming that it's windy, and so they're just advising not getting the tow trucks out there to not exacerbate any problems. That's just my assumption, and it's only a couple of areas in northwest Iowa that have that. So for the most part, it looked like central Iowa didn't have any no-tow zones, anything of that regard. But I want to zoom in a little bit. I'll kind of drag things around, and we'll look at the plow cams here in a second. But if you go south of the metro and southwest of the Des Moines metro, this is where really hardly any snow actually ended up falling yesterday. And it wasn't, as you can see, with just green on the road conditions from the Iowa DOT. Not too bad. No issues of any kind. It's when you get a little bit more north and northeast that the issues begin to arise. So around the Des Moines metro, showing up partially covered. That's very true. On the main roads like the interstates and the major highways, looked like they were about the same. So still going to have some patchy slick spots, things of that nature, but it's not impossible out there. Just one of those things where we'll just suggest and recommend that you take it slow, allow yourself plenty of time, and you'll be good. But traffic is picking up a little bit out there to start Sunday. So as more people get on the road, just drive as if there are many slick spots and just be safe out there. Going north of the Des Moines metro through Ames over to Boone, completely covered roadways around Fort Dodge, very similar story, all the way up to Algona over to Mason City. A lot of completely covered highways, and the county roads. They're not going to be in good shape to at least begin the day here. But with no snow falling, it's really once the winds calm down that a lot of work will be able to get done on the rural roads. But you notice that you get just barely to the east of Des Moines, and this part of I-80 is completely covered through the Newton area. So just and again, you get up to Ankeny northward, and I-35 is completely covered still. So Iowa DOT crews, city crews, everyone's out. Everyone's working hard. Um, shout out to all of our crews. They've had their work cut out for them to start this winter season. Want to show you all a few snow totals too. Usually this graphic is, we have like 3 bars of lists, but I am expecting that at 7 o'clock we'll probably get some more reports in as more go out and measure, because some of these didn't come in until super late last night. We're talking after 10 o'clock. And some of them weren't updated, before, 4, 5, 6 o'clock yesterday evening. But here's what we've got, and here's a few that I've seen. One that really stands out to me is Fort Dodge, an area, I can't remember where exactly around Fort Dodge, but still, it was in Fort Dodge, 9 inches was the report. That one really stands out to me. Another one that really stands out for me is the Des Moines Airport and the National Weather Service office. The comparison between the two. The way that dry air interacted with the system and the way it cut off in the Des Moines area was pretty crazy. It created kind of 2 different worlds. So, I mean, just 1.5 inches at the airport, and then the National Weather Service office, which is near Saylorville Lake and in Johnston, 5.7. So just crazy to see that difference. And, Ames report of 5. I did see another estimated report out of Ames, estimation of 6 inches, not measured, but estimated. So really, this storm did exactly what we thought it would. But I will say that snow came in pretty heavy. And again, just the way that the dry air really interacted with this system made it pretty interesting. So quick recap of radar here, and then let's get a look at the plow cams. But I'm going to take this all the way back. And it was a little bit before this. This was at 6:30 last night, yesterday evening, and this is when the moisture kind of filled back in, and that snow really began to come down at a pretty high clip, especially on the north side of the metro. But things kind of lingered around. We had that freezing drizzle late last night. Keep that in mind too. Freezing drizzle always sneaks up on us, and even though it's all said and done, because this system is well off to the east now, it creates some more problems. It doesn't help anything, obviously. So yeah, the freezing drizzle created some more issues. That's just kind of what we've got going on. So let's go ahead and move this thing to the plow cams. Let me at least refresh the Iowa 511 page and get the plow cams up. And I think I've got them up already. Perfect. All right, let me get this switched over, and we can get these checked out. So we will start. Let's go up towards. Let's start north and kind of work our way down southward. So this is along Highway 18, and you can kind of see the waviness here. This is kind of that blowing snow that isn't reducing visibility. If you're just tuning in, I was mentioning a little bit ago that the blowing snow that's happening, especially in north central and far northern Iowa, is not the type of blowing snow that is going to create for a blizzard-like type of condition where visibility is vastly reduced. It's not that type. It's blowing right across the roadway, especially on east-west roads, because the wind is straight out in the north right now. And what that creates is it can create very icy patches as that continues to blow across the road. So just something to keep in mind. Does look as though this is US 169. You see that I believe this would be maybe the southbound lane on the left here, and the northbound lane here on the right. Northbound lane, a little bit rougher shape than the southbound lane. That's how it looks. However, might be vice versa, depending on what direction that plow is going. But keep working our way south here. You see a lot of snow still on the roadway, but because the wind is straight out of the north, that's going to help a little bit with north-south road direction. This is Highway 20, an east-west road, and you can see how different it is. Now, of course, this is a little bit closer to the Fort Dodge area where the highest snow totals end up coming in, and the highest reports that we've seen so far, 9 inches, and then Colville is just a short distance away from Fort Dodge, and there's a report of 6 inches there. So this is closer to the area that we saw the higher snow totals. However, you see how covered Highway 20 is, and this is a little bit closer to Webster City, a little bit east of Webster City. You can see how covered Highway 20 is. So that's the kind of situation that we're looking at. This is Highway 69. You can see mostly covered. So really what this is giving me an idea of is the fact that things are not great. Now, I-35 looks a whole lot better than US 69 in a very similar area. So as you get, and it looks like, this is I-35 just north of Story City. Let's take a look down a little bit closer to Ames. What do we got going on? Story City and Ames. Left lane looking a little worse for the wear. So this is telling me that outside of the Des Moines Metro, the interstate looks a little bit better than what some of the U.S. highways do. Highway 30, again, looking a little bit rough, and this is also partly due to that wind out of the north. So that it's going to be blowing that snow straight across, and that will continue to create some problems. Looks like that might have been from last night. Let's see. Yeah, another plow cam on Highway 30 here. This is east of the Ames area. And just east of Nevada. Partially to mostly covered, but I can tell you there's definitely going to be some icy spots, kind of just mixed in with some of that snow-covered road. Here's a look at I-35. Looks like this plow is just about to get onto I-35. Let's see what we got here. So this is oral labor. So this is another thing to keep in mind, and actually something else I want to point out. You can kind of see my my cursor, my mouse. You see the wetness there. There's a lot of that going on around the Des Moines area right now. A lot of roads are very, very wet to go along with. Some snow and slush still left on them. And you factor in any snow that might be blowing across some of those roads, it's just going to compound the problem and create for some more slick spots. So just all good things to keep in mind. This is Highway 44, and this was up towards the, in Grimes is where this was. 141, now looking terrible, looking a little wet, a little slushy. Let's travel a little northeast here. Let's see what's going on around New Hartford. Iowa Highway 57, mostly covered. Around Parkersburg on 14, pretty much completely covered. So really, unless, that's a beautiful, beautiful sunrise beginning in the latest image from this plow on Iowa Highway 3. So really what I'm gathering here by looking at all these is another look at Highway 30, just farther to the east. Not in the greatest shape around Toledo, Tama. Right lane looking a whole lot better than the left lane, but take a look at that. Someone, hopefully they're okay. Someone slid off of Highway 30 there last night. Yeah, it wasn't real fun as that snow was coming down. Highway 21. Yeah, we're just getting the idea here that if it's an interstate, especially a north-south interstate like I-35, it's a little bit better than what some of these highways and the kind of shape some of these highways are in. Highway 117, not looking too great. And then go to Highway 92, and you can see on either side there's not a lot of snow. Again, that dry air was crazy, and the type of cutoff that it created, pretty wild down towards Indianola. Things are looking fine, so it's really just around the Des Moines metro and throughout the Des Moines metro and places to the northwest, north, and northeast. That's where we've got the roughest conditions. Highway through up by Pocahontas, that is not looking great. Around Eagle Grove, Highway 3, not great there. We got any plow near on Highway 17 here. Does not look like we have one on 17, but that's okay. I was just curious. Around Belmont, yeah, it's just not great. So that's did a pretty hard check of the plows and stuff there. So yeah, that's what we've got going on. Gonna do a little reset here and update you all for who may be just tuning in. First of all, thanks for being here this morning. Hope you guys had a wonderful Saturday, and I hope your Sunday's off to a good start. If you're planning on heading out, we just got done taking a look at a bunch of the latest images from the plow cameras across central Iowa, and basically what we discovered in doing that is if it's not an interstate, it's probably not in great shape. There's still plenty of slick spots out there. I'll give you a live look at just a few of the cameras that we have in our these 4-panel graphics. Let me. I'm going to take myself off of the screen here, just so you can get a full view of the bottom right panel. So throughout the Des Moines metro, it looks as though we've got a lot of wetness out there on the interstates. Something that is going to happen today is temperatures are going to be getting colder, and the winds will remain fairly gusty. So especially any part of 235 or 3580 through the Des Moines area that is elevated, bridges, overpasses, things of that nature, it's gonna be pretty slick. So that is the situation around the Des Moines, at least around the metro, to start the day today. Um, just keep that in mind. You hear it from us all the time to take it slow and just exercise caution out there. It's what we say all the time, but it's just a good reminder. I know last weekend was practice, and as far as driving in some snow for us, but man, what a start! What a start to the winter season for Central Iowa. Anyway, for the rest of Sunday here, and for the rest of course, the weekend. This morning, continue to exercise caution. Take it slow out there. Allow yourself plenty of extra time if you're going to church, getting out doing some shopping this morning at some point, or just taking a little stroll around town. Side streets, some of the well-traveled, more major type of streets around the Des Moines area, still very slushy, very slick. And we have seen that across Central Iowa and North Central Iowa, and far northern Iowa, a lot of the east-west traveling roads are in rough shape because our winds are straight out of the north. That's going to continue into the afternoon. That patchy blowing snow, not going to be something, and just kind of recapping what we've been discussing here, not going to be a situation where it's going to reduce visibility. It's going to make things hard to see. However, I can only speak from the experience that I got with this kind of thing growing up in Algona. And, if you've lived here a long time, you know what I'm about to talk about. As the snow blows across the road and just continues to do so for hours on end, you eventually get these spots that turn into just patches of ice. And it can really sneak up on you. And so that's kind of why I've still got the yellow traffic light for the specific graphic. And I'll actually take myself out again here just so you can see the Sunday evening part. Much improved travel, but it's going to be pretty bitterly cold. And the much improved travel is going to be mainly because road crews, the snow is done. Winds remain a little bit gusty, but the snow is done. So, Iowa DOT crews are out in droves. City crews are out in droves this morning, doing the best they can to clear kind of what's left. And so, shout out to all of our road crews. Thanks for all the work you do. It's just going to be tough going into the afternoon because the winds aren't going to die down all too much. It's going to take a little bit. So I'm going to go through things here. Winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Again, not enough to greatly reduce visibility. And we actually haven't seen that high of wind gusts. I do think that, Fort Dodge, Algona, Mason City, Spencer, Ames, we'll pick up on a gust of, 25 miles per hour here and there. And that's going to whip some of that snow up and whip some of that around. But thankfully, winds are more of just kind of a sustained. The gusts are not super strong at this point this morning. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to still create those icy patches and things like that. So we actually just got this updated, and if you go south of the Des Moines area at all, still in the metro, but we've seen these, Highway 28, I-35, Highway 5, 65, around Carlisle, Norwalk, Indianola. These were still partially covered just a little bit ago. So already seeing improvement there, but this is also where less snow fell. So a little bit easier to clear that. However, those areas did see freezing drizzle last night. So I would still be on the lookout, or just kind of just be aware that there could still be a patchy, little icy spot here and there. Might make things a little bit dicey at times. But a lot of pink on the map this morning. Completely covered roads throughout much of, central, north central, and pretty much all of northeast Iowa. And northwest Iowa, partially covered, but we did a little look at some of the plow cameras a little bit ago if you're just tuning in. And, a lot of the highways out this way, Carroll, northward and northwestward, not in the greatest of shape, but there are a lot of crews out there. Yeah, so they'll be doing the best they can. It's just going to be a little bit tougher on the east-west highways and county roads this morning and into the afternoon because our wind is pretty much straight out of the north. Now, these are just a few of the reports that we've gotten in. Couple that, and I'm sure we'll get a more comprehensive list as we kind of go throughout the morning. Some of these totals came in pretty late last night, but take a look. Go from Norwalk. Let me get the pointer out here. Go from Waukee, Norwalk, and then you go down to the Des Moines airport. I mean, not even 2 inches in any of those locations, but then the National Weather Service office, which is, pretty close to Saylorville Lake and up in Johnston, a little bit north of, Camp Dodge, 5.7. That's a crazy difference, as thanks to the dry air that we saw with the system. It really created a cutoff in the Des Moines metro. And I think as we get some more updated reports in this morning, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of areas. AIM's latest report that I saw was around 5 inches. I wouldn't be surprised with updated totals this morning to see a lot more locations. Ames, Story City, up to Fort Dodge, Webster City, up to Algona, Humboldt, Clarion, Belmont, Eagle Grove, places like that. Wouldn't be surprised to see a pretty widespread 4+ inches. That just seems to be where the heaviest of that snow fell most consistently yesterday. Now, the snow is all said and done. It's out of here. This system is, we are waving goodbye to it. Just a little radar recap of this thing. So, it moved in, came in, thick and fast. That snow was falling pretty heavily. And then we saw between kind of, 5:15 and 6 o'clock, this was the dry air that created the cutoff in snow totals. And that really did a number for locations southwest of Des Moines proper and west of Des Moines proper. That's what kind of created that separation. But then that moisture filled back in. And if you were out and about yesterday evening, how heavy that snow was coming down. It was, that snow, it was cranking pretty good. So I want to give you a look at Futurecast and the wind gusts here. So once we get in the afternoon, that's when winds look to die down more. We're talking, not going to have wind gusts over 20 miles per hour anymore. We're not going to have sustained winds up to 15 miles per hour anymore like we're seeing now. Great news there, because lighter winds is all a good thing. Something I want you to be aware of is a couple of light snow showers. We do, I don't always agree, with Futurecast, and I don't always agree with models, because in general, they just kind of stink. I don't always agree with them, but this is plausible as far as a little bit later on tonight. So this is between 9 o'clock tonight and midnight, turning the page into Monday. I think best chances for a few of these snow showers are going to be along and north of Highway 30. kind of right center cut through central Iowa. And it's not going to be something that amounts to much of anything. However, you know, I don't think a lot of people are going to be out and about that late overnight tonight. However, if you're one of those people that does have to, just know that a few of those snow showers will be out there. And it is going to be just, create for maybe a few more slick spots in a few places heading into Monday morning. Otherwise, nothing major to kind of start the week. Something else is the temperatures. This morning, a lot of us in central Iowa sitting in the 20s, low to mid 20s. Des Moines in the mid 20s right now. Temperatures are going to fall throughout the day. That northerly wind, there's some cold air that's getting ushered in kind of behind this. So combine the cold that's coming in, it'll be a little bit more bitter with continuation of some slick spots and slick areas. Just keep that in mind. God forbid anything happen on the roadways, but you certainly don't want to be caught or stuck out there for a bit in the type of cold where wind chills are down in the single digits and single digits below zero, because we will have that in parts of central Iowa. Now, we are going to have at least a decent bit of warming for Monday, so this cold air is going to be a short-lived round of it, but still, just wanted to let you know that things do look pretty bitter heading into late tonight. All right. I'm going to go back to the road conditions, and we've hit 7 o'clock here. I'm going to kind of wrap things up because I do think we will see very nice improvements. It's going to happen gradually, but I do believe we'll see very nice improvements heading throughout the morning and into this afternoon. I think we're going to see a whole lot more blue on this map than pink. We're already starting to see some of that pink, dwindle and go away on this map. Again, road crews doing the best they can. They're going to be hard at work this morning. But just know that if you are along and north of Highway 30 on especially the east-west traveling roads and highways, we have a wind straight out of the north. So it's not a strong enough wind that it's going to whip your vehicle around. However, it's a strong enough wind that it's going to blow snow across the road and create for some icy patches here and there. So keep that in mind. Allow yourself plenty of extra time. Take it slow. Just get from A to B safely. Quick look at those winds. As I mentioned, pretty much straight out of the north, maybe a little bit northeast. Regardless, east-west roads going to have the blowing snow right across them. So continue to use caution out there into early this afternoon. And then once we get into the evening, I think this is when we're going to see a lot more green on that map, on that road conditions map. So, that is what we've got this morning. Thank you all so much for being here and for tuning in. Happy that we could be here to give you a little update to start your Sunday. Hope you have a wonderful day, and hope everything is safe and all good to end your weekend here. But if you're heading out, maybe heading out to church, doing some shopping a little later this morning, a lot of the side streets and even some of the well-traveled roads around the Des Moines Metro are still pretty slick and snow-covered. So just keep that in mind. And just take it slow, be safe, and have a wonderful Sunday. Thanks for being here. And we will be talking to you guys soon. We are live on local news at 5:30. Local 5 news at 5:30, and Local 5 News at 10. You can catch me and the rest of the team covering the aftermath and the last little bit of this kind of a rough patch as far as roadways in central Iowa. So be safe out there. Have a great rest of your Sunday and great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you tonight.